a few seconds ago, you were talking about conversations that you had behind the scenes with your patients.
We literally had
That's
those.
how we met.
Yes.
That's how we met. And so the conversations that Dr. Crockett was having with me went deeper than the scalpel could reach, and it went beyond what I was there for. And that's what I needed.
Welcome to the Dr. Crockett Show. I'm your host, Dr. Susan Crockett. I'm a minimally invasive GYN surgeon in San Antonio, Texas, and I'm coming to you from Ollie-Woodstudios. This is Ollie. If you haven't met him yet, hello, Ollie. It's Ollie-Woodstudios, and today I have a very, very special guest, Starley Murray. I don't even know how to give you words. Like, you are like my mentor, my producer, my
food sampler.
My food sampler.
Well, I tell you what we do behind the scenes here on the Dr. Crockett Show is something special. Now, I'm lucky. I sneak in. I'm really like a guest consultant. But,
right?
But since we do have the friend level, I do clean out your fridge as well.
Yes, you do on a regular basis. And I'm happy for you to do that because I would not cook the way I do and feel as good as I do if I didn't have friends like you to cook for. But today we're doing behind the scenes.
Yes, we are. Now, I have been so excited for you to do this segment for so long because every single Dr. Crockett show has a behind the scenes that's so cool that most people don't get to see.
Right?
Right? Now,
I know we've been talking about this for at least 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
At least 6 months. And some of you have asked questions through the comments. Thanks. And if you have more comments or questions or want to see other stuff on the show, put them below because we read them. That's kind of fun. But this one's been a long time coming. Yeah. I like layered messaging. I do. I like deep meaning and...
Yes. Well, I'm a big fan. So I will tell you this. 3 of the things that I noticed were so cool and so different and unique about your show. And I've been on over 3,000 productions.
I know you're like the production queen.
So,
executive producer. You've been a national producer for America's Most Wanted, red carpet interviewer. Like
so many fun. I'm blessed to be doing so many fun, cool things. And this one is just like a joy. We call this secretly the treehouse because we have so much fun. But
yeah, that's what we call it. This is actually an apartment, right? And we call it the treehouse because we just play. It's fun.
Even though we're in the treehouse, the Dr. Crockett Show is first and foremost branded in a cool way. Plus, you have this behind the scenes. You've nicknamed it the Vortex, which we're going to tell everybody what that means. And then thirdly, we're going to talk about the incredible treats that you do with breaking bread with your guests.
Which is so key to what we're doing and building in our core mission. And you don't really see it on the show at all. We've hinted about it before, but I'm excited to show it.
I'm always
to
like,
you.
I'm like, this is beautiful. This is so cool. I have to capture this. I love this. But so first and foremost, there's a lot of people that are guests on your show, and they have they're cool brands, and you elevate them, and you're constantly talking about them and their brands. Now, me being the behind the scenes, guest here, I am going to talk about your brand.
Oh gosh.
She's like trying to knock the magazine off the table earlier. I'm like, no. Pride and joy every time I see you on television or a magazine. I'm like the mom in the wings going,
you are. Yay! I literally call you my stage mom.
I know. I wear that title proudly, by the way. So, right here, the brand, we put it on the table, but usually your brand might be somewhere in the background, like in your bookcase, or maybe it's
a logo.
Yeah, logo. It may be on a cup. Now we put a bunch of it in one place so we can make an example. But the brand, you'd be surprised. Dr. Crockett, do you know how many people don't have their brand showing in their videos or any of their messaging?
Well, I think branding is a really tricky thing. I wouldn't be surprised because, it takes time and consistency to kind of gel and bring the pieces together. It's taken me a long time. And part of it is just kind of knowing who you are. And part of it is knowing your audience and trying to figure out, what you want to communicate with the audience.
Yeah. Well, you know what? So I remember even the day when the Going Deeper Than the Scalpel Will Reach was born.
Yes.
And I will tell you that since then, you've only layered more and more evolution of your brand going deeper and deeper as opposed to, going in different directions. Yeah. So you're right. It does take a while to get that brand. And
it's kind of solidified.
So you're doing awesome.
So let's talk a little bit about the branding while we're here. So one thing that we came up pretty early were the colors and the 7 seeds, right? We've talked about this before, but I started this show by taking the conversations that I have with patients in the clinic, those one-on-one conversations about wellness and health. And I kept saying these things over and over and again, and they really had nothing to do with the surgery. They had to do with keeping people healthy or keeping them from having to come back for more surgery. And that's how this show was born. So it was born out of going where the scalpel literally doesn't reach.
Right.
And so as I started thinking about and organizing my thoughts around that, we realized there were 7 different categories that I teach. And that's what we're putting together here. I'm writing a book now about that. So the 7 seeds are be, heal, love, give, grow, pray, and attune. So more on that in this coming year, a whole lot more. We're going to be focusing our curriculum on that. But the other thing I wanted to say really quick before we move on about layering is this rose.
Oh,
this rose is so pretty, right?
It's beautiful.
And I love the green glass. So this rose was part of a bouquet of a dozen that is 11 days old.
Wow, this is still going strong.
It is.
Kind of like you.
Right? Right? Messaging, layering. So all the other roses, I've kind of trimmed back the bouquet. All the other ones have kind of like drooped. And so on the show, part of what we're interested in teaching is sustainability and longevity. And so I asked the question this morning as I was kind of looking at this flower. I'm like, how come this flower made it and the others didn't?
Right.
And that's a much deeper message than just looking at a pretty rose on a table.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a little taste of where we go in our conversations on the show. We're exploring like, why is there longevity on that flower? Why is it special? So
yeah, definitely. And then I'll segue off that about a little bit on just origins on brand and your audience, because I'm not just a guest, consultant.
Right.
I'm not just a guest on the show today. I'm your patient. I started off as your patient.
Oh, yeah, that.
Right. So, like a few seconds ago, you were talking about conversations that you had behind the scenes with your patients.
We literally had
That's
those.
how we met.
Yes.
That's how we met. And so the conversations that Dr. Crockett was having with me went deeper than the scalpel could reach, and it went beyond what I was there for. And that's what I needed. And because I always say, Dr. Crockett saved my life, you're stuck with me for this reciprocity. It's like Velcro.
I'll never get rid of her.
That's right. That's right.
She's stuck like glue.
Yeah, you shouldn't have cured me. Thank you. So yeah, I'm a testament to those conversations that you had, and one of the reasons why you thought of this show.
Well, you've literally drugged me along every step of the way to get here. I'm so grateful. Like, this took years of you saying, come on, come do it, little baby bites.
No, it's you feeding me.
Oh, because I kept feeding you.
I know.
I would cook good food and she would help.
I know.
But if you hadn't been so persistent with me, this wouldn't have developed. So this is I'm very grateful for you.
Well, this is all you, and I'm just grateful to be a part of it. And I just wanted to bring this up. So speaking of some of the things behind the scenes in the show, so this is your clapboard, right?
Yeah.
And so whatever is written on here, like say the titles, let me put this over here, of the show, those weren't from like weeks and months of cultivating. It's your vortex, this middle part of the behind the scenes conversation that you do with your guests.
Yeah. So you know how most talk shows, or maybe you don't know, I don't know why I would assume everybody knows, but most of the time when you get invited to go on a podcast or show or an interview, a radio interview, they kind of give you a list of questions or a list of things, and you talk back and forth and prep ahead of time about what it's going to look like. Sometimes it's really very, very scripted. I did a talk for Priscilla in the last month, and it was a really fun podcast. I'll post that later. A really fun talk for them about minimally invasive surgery and same day home stuff that I love to do. But that interview was very, very prepped ahead of time. It was me talking, but it's because I had already thought through the answers and had written them out and all of that. So most of the time, well, for example, that interview, I never met the interviewer until the Zoom call where we did the interview.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's how most people are. So in our show, we invite people to come on the show that we meet because we have some interesting conversations in real life. Hopefully you think they are too. And we do a little bit of prep ahead of time, like what's the topic you want to talk about? Or do you have 3 points, bullet points that you kind of want to hit? But the content of the show is not created until the guests get here. And this is where we're a little different. So we believe that the way we make the world a better place is by making people a better place. And part of what we do is we practice what we preach, and that is socialization, eating together, having healthy food, mostly whole food, plant-based. And we do that by inviting our guests in about 2 hours before the shoot.
Yep.
And we do this on Saturday mornings. And I get up super early, like 6 a.m. on Saturday morning. Sometimes I'll be prepping the meal 2 or 3 days in advance for stuff that needs to be created and put in the refrigerator or something. So I'm having all of this time where I'm going shopping and preparing a menu and thinking about the show and the people and what we're going to try, because I'm always trying new stuff with the food. And I know today, I'm not going to talk about today because today we have some of it in front of us.
It's amazing sushi.
We'll get to that. It was amazing sushi. It was really good. Some of it didn't work so well. That's okay. That's part of the trying, right? And Starley still was a good sport. And she's like, I think the matcha's a little too strong. Okay, anyway,
I digress.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So anyway, the vortex is where we have the guests come in early, and I actually sit them down at the kitchen counter, which is a big, large island in the middle of my kitchen on a little stool, and I'm cooking and preparing the food as they're noshing usually on some food that I put out, charcuterie or fruit and healthy stuff. I make all kinds of dips and we have a fun time with the creativity. But they're sitting there and they come in, and Starley's there too often. And we talk about we have the conversation right there. Like in an hour or two while they're there with me cooking and getting to know me, and we're talking about their life and their conversations. So we're getting to know each other on a relationship type level. And then we choose what we're going to talk about up here, what we want to share with you based on those conversations. Because the way this started was we were having great conversations with people and we thought that should be on a show, right?
Oh, yeah. I was dying downstairs because I was like, this stuff should be on camera. It's amazing.
We're always trying to capture all these great conversations and so we decided to be intentional about how we set the show. And so we call the kitchen counter the vortex because there's nothing. Well, it is a little bit magical. I'll own that.
Yes.
It's a little magical. So the vortex is where the food and the good nutrition and that healthy energy is there. And then the guests are coming in. They're getting relaxed. They get a little bit familiar with the format, get a little bit of tips and tricks so that they feel comfortable on camera. And we have conversation downstairs, which means when we come up here, we take what's from the vortex and we set it down here.
Exactly.
And that's how we get our guests to be like so cool and fun and conversational when we just met them. And we usually do one take. 20 minute.
Almost every time one take. Time. Yeah, there might be a few times someone has a little tickle in their throat or something like that. But, I believe I've been on every single one, which is like crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Yeah, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And I will tell you that the ones that I'm used to being on are so different than that. And this is one of the reasons why I was so excited about being a part of a behind the scenes, because it is so unique. So just to give you a clue, the behind the media training or the note taking or the scripting or the prep, whatever you want to think of that, it's different here. It's absolutely different. So exactly how you were describing it, but a picture in my head is, like the movie Chocolat,
Yes.
So, but this is the vortex. It's its own version.
So it's where the emotion is going into the food. And that's very much part of what we believe is that that thought process, the preparation, all of that starts way before the actual show and then is shared in community is so important to our mental health. Like there's so much data now about community and eating together and socialization. And the Larry and Deborah's show that we did at the very beginning, that was part of their 7 things, and the data that they found was that the socialization during meals is part of weight loss, like keeping a healthy weight.
That's beautiful. Well, on a personal note, as a testament, I wasn't breaking bread as often as I should because I was a part of the production in a way to where it was difficult for me to sit and talk with everyone. I was either behind the scenes or producing or in front holding the mic, and there wasn't bread breaking time
for you to sit there.
You made sure it happened. You made sure that I was a part of that as well. And I was like, wow, it is the vortex, right?
Yes. So we cook and then we sit down intentionally at the table, and it's not filmed.
And it's not scripted.
It's not scripted.
But it develops.
And even some of the shows, if you go back and see the different formatting, when we have the kitchen shows, we actually bring in a crew, and these guys are so much fun. They're like late 20s, early 30s. And at first they were like whole food, plant-based, like, well, I don't know, you know. Like,
they're like...
and we sit down, they eat with us. They eat. So when we have those live show, or not live show, but the kitchen cooking shows, we actually have a pretty large group of us sitting, eating before we actually film. And man, those boys will chow down. They're they're like, come cook this for me every day and I'll never eat meat again. So
they look like big meat and potato boys, and they're over there like, can I have another plate of it?
They're eating me out
balls or something. I was like, wow.
Eating me out of house and home. So it's really fun and rewarding. But so there's a vision and a dream for where we want this to go. We want to continue to grow and reach our audience, continue to grow ourselves. That's part of the give, grow, pray thing. Grow. So I have a dream that I'll have a real studio someday.
This is a real studio.
I know, but you know what I mean? Like a studio.
Yeah, I've seen behind the scenes. I have been a part of this from the beginning. This is a real studio. I've been on over 3,000 productions.
It's a real studio.
I tell you, this is a real studio.
Okay, I want to...
A bigger studio?
A bigger studio set.
All
You're right. This is. I should be proud of that.
Yes, ma'am.
This is pretty cool.
Dr.
Are we going to show them? We're going to show them some pictures of it?
I think some behind the scenes shots, maybe like towards the end or in some B-roll possibly.
I think that would be
fun.
At
least in the social media, yeah.
So I want a larger, more professional business type studio with a kitchen in it where I can hire a cook to come in and help me and have intentional meals where we bring in people from all over. I live like 10 minutes from the airport.
Right.
On purpose.
Yes.
So that we have access to go places, but also access to bring people in and have a private place where we can cultivate meaningful conversations and give people a platform for sharing the information and the knowledge.
Yeah. Now, since I plan like my red carpet trips around this, can I get a plate with my name on it?
Yes.
Like so I can have a permanent plate at the table?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Permanent plate at the table.
Before we completely segue to more of the Dr. Crockett Show's cooking segments, I have to say, I'm segueing from this middle part of the vortex of messaging over here to the cooking with a really important statement.
Uh-oh.
Do you know what it's like to have your doctor and your show host? Because I've also been a guest on the show, so I've gotten to see from their, a walk in their shoes, right?
Yep.
And to be not only have the meals picked to like, what are your favorite foods, cooked by Dr. Crockett for you, your favorite foods, and then served up for you. And then you're having a casual conversation, breaking bread together. Like, is that common? No. So I'm telling you, over the last 30 years, I haven't seen it a lot. And I said, I'm really excited if we do a segment about this.
Well, yeah, thank you. This is a fun idea for that. Because I just I'm like, yeah.
I'm like, yes.
What's the next thing? Who's the next guest? And she's like, no, you need to stop and kind of celebrate the uniqueness of what we're doing.
It is unique.
It really is unique.
It's so cool. And so, I know that Dr. Crockett, is so soft-spoken about like the recipes and the food, but I mean, this 1%, robotic surgeon fancy pants over here is, your chef capabilities was shocking to me.
Me too. I'm not kidding. I was like, I haven't been a chef my whole life. I haven't cooked, ask my kids. No.
Oh, and I think you said that you've done a lot of baking for them.
Yeah. So I, come from good German, Scottish background. I can make some shortbread, baby. I can bake some bread.
But the cooking is great. Yeah. It's amazing. And here's the other thing. I'm a very visual person in terms of how I learn or how I teach. And so when the food is so beautiful too, and it's whole food, plant-based, the majority of it.
Yep.
And it's so good for you. And, she does all these special things for me too, because I'm lactose intolerant, I'm gluten sensitive. And she's like, all right, I got it. I got you. And then it comes out, this is something I made up. I like to say, Dr. Crockett's food looks so beautiful, Pinterest would be jealous. So it's just it's so pretty. And so it not only tastes great and it's great for you, it's pretty. And then your doctor and show host cooks for you. Now, you don't think that's unique. It took me months to get this segment. I'm like,
well, I think it's kind of fun because, I didn't cook like this. I have to credit Dr. Malloy, who's a frequent guest on our show. He's a super guy, but he challenged me to start learning how to cook differently, one recipe a week. Yeah. And, when I first was contemplating going mostly whole food plant-based, and I can say mostly because I'm about 80% probably whole food plant-based, it was hard I thought, am I just going to have to eat salad and broccoli?
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I thought.
That was stage 1.
Yep.
And then stage 2 was, okay, I'm in this thing where I have to eat whole food plant-based. I'm going to start substituting for meat all the fake plant stuff, right? Yep. So I went to the grocery store and I found the plant-based meatballs and started cooking my regular meals with the fake chicken and the fake cheese and the fake, all of this. And over time, I was like, wait a minute. And I started looking at the things that are in some of those. I'm not knocking them by any means because it's cool that we have plant-based options and they're getting better and better all the time. But I found that I was just trying to substitute out instead of really delving in and enjoying all the flavors and benefits and tastes that I hadn't experienced before. I didn't like mushrooms. Right. Ugh. I grew up, I picked them off my pizza. And so
give them to me.
It's one of her favorite things. But I had to get challenged to get away from the little canned sliced rubber things that I grew up with.
Yep.
And start challenging myself to cook with them and figure out the different flavors of the different types and how we use them and cook with them. Right. And we've done that with lots of different things. So if I didn't have the show and these people to cook for and to continue doing that, I don't cook like this every day. I do it when we have the show. It's the Saturday thing. And to tell you the truth, I eat pretty crappy sometimes during the week.
Yeah, well, Dr. Crockett, that's why you've got your vitamins.
I know, because sometimes I eat pretty crappy. So
okay. You got to say that one phrase. You have to say that one phrase about the paleo and the thing,
Okay.
What was
it? Are we...
There's different kinds of diets, right? There's paleo. And
what was the third one?
There's vegan, paleo. I think you said then Oreo.
I know. What was the other one?
I can't remember, but I do.
Keto. Are you keto? Are you paleo? Are you Oreo?
So, but here's the thing, Dr. Crockett, that's what most of us have been doing is a combination of healthy and not healthy. And so part of what you do when you're teaching these things is helping us to not feel guilty when we're eating however it is that we're eating, but to encourage us to feel, like it's more fun when you're trying healthier things.
Yep.
And so I was a vegetarian for like more than a decade. And then I was a hardcore vegan for like about almost 6 years.
Yeah.
And I found that I actually, when I went to all of that meat that you were talking about, I was actually starting to get some gallbladder problems because I was eating it was like a lot of excess coconut oil in the meats. And then I'm gluten sensitive and there was also gluten in some of them.
Right.
A lot of them are really great, but if you want to pick and choose.
Well, so flour is vegan, right? It's a plant-based product.
Right.
But flour has gluten in it and refined processed foods like refined sugar and refined flour. That's why we joke about Oreos. Because Oreos are vegan.
They're vegan.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And so that doesn't mean they're healthy. So when we talk, that's why we specifically say whole food plant-based or mostly whole food plant-based.
So I missed that. I missed that memo when I was being so devout for all those years. And then it was actually counterproductive in some ways with my health. So in discovering with the way that you cook and how you put the ingredients together, so more fresh.
Yep.
And your whole breaking bread with your guests and your friends and creating these reasons, these beautiful reasons, has brought you and your guests and a lot of us closer together.
A lot of joy.
Yeah. Do you remember you think that I had like some sort of an eating situation?
Yes, I thought you had an eating disorder because you would come over and you wouldn't eat. And I was your doctor, so I was kind of like, And then one day I started cooking like this, and she's like, she's literally like eating the sprouts and the stuff off the counter. I'm like, I just didn't have the food right.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, the freshness is really great. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out because for years I was doing the preservative or packaged based vegan, whereas instead of having a label, I was learning through you that, hey, it's just really more about the freshness.
Yeah. Yeah. So most of what we do is fresh produce the morning of the show.
Yes.
And real nuts, seeds, vegetables.
Yeah. Some of us are real
fruits.
nuts.
We are all nuts.
We're nuts here.
All of us here. Well, Miss Starley, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you.
It's fun showing them behind the scenes. Let's put some little B-roll footage and let them see kind of how we built the whole show, because we worked for a couple of years.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, you've got, behind the scenes on, magazine shoots, you've got, stage and your television appearance.
Yep. That was fun.
Yeah. So me being a publicity mentor and mommy, it's like, I'm crying literally. I'm so proud. I'm not going to cry. I'm not crying. You're crying. And then seeing how your vortex that you created, and then, by the way, I'm going to end on the fact that, am I going to be able to get some recipes off your website? Oh, you're going to, don't hit me in the arm.
Yes, I've been trying to get those up there for like 2 months. And that's like me dictating my charts. I'm terrible about dictating my charts. I know, but
I said it on camera. I said it on camera, so now.
I have figured out how to keep up with my dictation, so there's hope for me getting the recipes online.
Oh, namaste.
Yes, you're welcome. Maybe not all of them. I think maybe some of them we might hold back, like that lasagna one I did, which is really special. Oh, y'all, whole food plant-based lasagna. It had over 30 different whole food whole food.
Yeah, the herbs
ingredients in it.
The ingredients, yeah.
Yeah, and so if you're
thirds.
She had thirds. It was so good. That we might have to just reserve for our guests when they come.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure I want to share that one.
Am I going to be a guest in the future?
Only if you're nice to me.
Oh, yes. You do the lasagna?
Do the lasagna.
Please, Dr. Crockett.
Oh, man. We'll see.
Okay.
Well, to be determined. TBD. All right, y'all. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Enjoy the little B-roll that we're going to sneak in here. And thanks always for joining us. I will see you next week. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. And let me know what else you want us to talk about, because I can talk. Bye, y'all. Have a great week. You're such a good dog. That's a very good little bag. Yes. Yes. You want a really nice cookie? Do you deserve a greenie? A greenie cookie for Ollie. Is that what we need? He says yes. He says yes. We need a greenie. What do you think? Are you hungry? Yeah. You are? You want a greenie? Who's been the best doggy all day long? You want to teach all the other doggies how to be so polite? Okay.
Well, it is easy from ivory tower high to look down on me and criticize your mention faults. I see you longing for, and you want a piece of this by you. So envious, ridiculous. Boy, it matters not, 'cause what she got with me is love and truth, and everything that you and I were around. And edges, so to the earth, and if you don't look, you won't notice what I'm really worth. And I don't need to compromise from your eyes, 'cause you know where I stand as a man. I know it's hard to get the measure of a man.